fix myself. I am just waiting for Dwain to join me. Let's see, where is he? Oh, here he is. Participants, 1. Just me. No, it's just me. Dwain, enter the waiting room. Admit. I admitted Dwain. Dwain is connecting to audio. You there, Dwain?
Yeah, I am. Thank you. Waiting for this video to kick in. There we go. How you doing, man?
Oh, awesome. Strong beard game, bro.
Well,
I love it.
well, you know, it's kind of required here in Arkansas. They know you as an outsider if you're not walking around looking like this. So, how's life treating you, buddy?
Life is really good. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine, thanks.
All right, let me I'm going to switch my audio output to my headphones.
Okay.
Just so we don't get any reverberation or anything. Where are the settings on Zoom? Oh, here we are. Zoom preferences. Here we go. Audio. Let's see. Speaker. Dragon Pods. That's what my headphones are called. All right. We should be good now.
Well, thank you very much for agreeing to speak with me. I do appreciate it very, very much. This is for Arkansas Wild. We are a quarterly magazine and the only one really in Arkansas that's solely focused on everything outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, biking, you name it. And for our first issue of 2022, the working title for the cover package is What's Next? And we're talking about the new use for the outdoors, different ways of making it more inclusive, different ways of making it more adaptive. And when I ran across your story, I thought this is the perfect person to talk about ways that not only in Arkansas but elsewhere, trails and amenities can become more adaptive for all people. And then the gravy of all of this is that you've discovered Arkansas, spend some of your time here and what have you, which I thought was just a perfect tie-in as well. So as I said, I'm really, really thrilled that you could make time to speak with us. Thank you.
Awesome, man. I'm stoked.
So let's just start with a little bit of background information. Tell me a little bit about your growing up and the role that the outdoors and different outdoor sports played in your development.
Yeah, great way to start. I grew up in San Diego. I say I was born in San Diego, but I actually was not. I was born in Des Moines, Iowa, but we moved to San Diego when I was 2 months old. So I always say born and raised in San Diego.
All right.
Technicality. And growing up in San Diego is as you would expect it to be. Everything is outdoors. And I didn't really have any parenting. And then growing up in, the 80s, it was different then, it was a just come home at night type of thing,
yep.
And so my little brother and I, we just, were tromping through the canyons, meeting illegal immigrants out there, and it was no holds barred skateboarding. And then right about, I think it was like 5th or 6th grade, I traded my skateboard for a surfboard. And we lived about 6 miles from the beach. So we would ride our BMX bikes. And I actually found a Torker frame, which is interesting because I've recently become friends with Eddie King, and he's the Torker guy. I found a Torker frame in the canyon. I reported to the police and everything. And, held on to it for a couple months, and then I called them and say, hey, what's up with this frame? Did you find the owner? Da, da, da. I'm like, nope, it's yours. So, obviously someone had stolen a bike and ditched it in the canyon. And I found it. Sold all my GI Joes and Transformers and built that bike up. And then my little brother and I, we'd ride our bikes to the beach, carrying a surfboard, boogie board, and started surfing then. And my whole life, just growing up, being outdoors has been a very big part of everything I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So at what point did it stop being just a thing that kids kind of kick around? Because a lot of people leave that stuff behind them. Other people take it and they say, all right, I've mastered this. Now what's the next challenge? What is the next mountain? What is the next jump? Whatever that might be, next wave in your case. At what point did you ever have a conscious decision of saying, all right, look, I'm going to map this out to where I want to conquer certain things? Or were you just taking those challenges as they come?
Oh, it's an interesting question. I've actually never really thought about that. My entire life, I've just been kind of a pinball, just bouncing around from one thing to the next, which is great because I've been very present in all those moments, but not good in the sense that there hasn't been a sense of direction in my life and until I would say my mid-30s even. So was there ever a conscious decision? I think in every sport I do, and I'm speaking for, most people here, in everything we do, we're always striving to progress. That's just human nature for most people. So everything I've always been trying to be better, definitely. But I think the first thing where I was like, I need to conquer this in 2012. There was this. I was living in Mammoth at the time, Mammoth Lakes, California. The Mammoth is a ski resort in the Eastern Sierras, and there's this mountain that I was just obsessed with, the backcountry mountain, biggest mountain in the area, and all my friends would climb and ski it, every spring and summer because it held snow year round.
Right.
And so I got obsessed with it and got a crew of people together and climbed this mountain and skied it. And that was probably the first time where there was a definite, clear goal and direction in mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So also in 2012 was a major turning point in your life. I read on your bio that oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting that wrong. That was when you became the first paraplegic to climb this ski route, which we'll get to in a minute. But prior to that, there was a big turning point in your life, being paralyzed in I believe it was a motorcycle accident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. 2001 is when my accident was. I just last year celebrated. So how many? 20 years in a wheelchair. Crazy, man. Crazy. I mean, it doesn't seem like yesterday, but it doesn't seem like 20 years either. Yeah, really. Yeah. Crazy to think 20 years in a wheelchair. Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So it was the thing about those types of experiences is how they can crystallize for some individuals that I've spoken to. It really crystallizes their life's work in an odd kind of way. Was that the outcome for you? Obviously, it was a tragedy, and it was something you wouldn't want to go through again necessarily. But I mean, innovation comes out of adversity. And would you have done what you have done since then had it not been for that crystallizing moment of waking up from that?
Well, the answer to your question is no. I would not be doing what I'm doing today if I wasn't paralyzed. Probably. Yeah. And if I were to answer your question, I don't, I wish I could say that, oh, I'm still the same person. I'm still doing the same stuff, you know, which is true. I'm still an outdoorsman. I'm still me. You know, I still like drinking beer and working on stuff and whatever. I'm still that person, but I almost died, man. And, you know, being close to death for anybody is definitely a slap in the face. Like I said, I was just a pinball, you know, I was 25. I was pretty selfish, man. And, it's definitely a wake up call from that stuff to like, hey man, let's live life with, you know, more intention. And there's been a couple other close calls since then. But, I'd also be lying if I said that, I want this bike that I have, you know, I don't want to be an adaptive rider. And I'm not even a mountain biker in my heart and mind. I'm a surfer and a trail runner. And this bike is how I get out on the trail. You know, I'm visualizing myself running as I'm cranking that thing. So I definitely, it's not, man, I don't want to, I don't want to sound negative because I live an amazing life. I'm stoked. I'm definitely winning, you know, in life. But I would definitely, you know, being an adaptive rider is a big slice of humble pie, and it's not all fun and games, you know. Life in a wheelchair sucks, you know. Being in a wheelchair is not fun. It is not a fun thing. So that's the.
You must understand. You certainly you must realize that the while it is not what you would have planned, hoped for, or even given the chance, maybe done it exactly the same way, right? You have to understand that by virtue of what you're doing, how much hope you're giving to other people, and how much change you can impact, the unpavement being just one of those aspects that's most visible. But there are people you'll never even meet who maybe will read this article, certainly have seen your blog, your podcast and whatnot, and get out of their house for the first time, and that must certainly strike a note with you. Doesn't make up for everything, but it must resound with you, doesn't it?
100%. That's what gets me up in the morning. My life is not about me anymore. It's bigger, and the On Pavement project and everything is something that's bigger than me. And when I get those comments and messages from people, you know, that's, you know, I definitely struggle in my head, and it's those things that keep me going. And I have to remind myself every morning, one, that I'm winning, that I live a great life. You know, I live in America, bro. We live in America. And I mean, there's so much, we just have endless opportunity here. I mean, I'm talking to you on this beautiful MacBook Pro, you know, stuff like, you know, I got my iPhone, right? I got everything I need, you know, more and more. I got all the gadgets. I got the van. I got, you know, I have ocean view. I'm definitely winning, but I just have a propensity for just being dark. And it's, I got to remind myself how good I have it. It takes a conscious decision for me, and remind myself that my life is no longer about me, which is an interesting place to be. You know, I always say we got to play our best hand, whatever hand that is. You know, you got to do your best to win with it. You know, and this is what I've got, and I think, you know, I have decided, not I think, I've decided that. You know, working in trails and the whole On Pavement project is the best hand that I can play. And so it's just strategery, you know, mostly. So
what year did the On Pavement project come online?
Gosh, great question. It's been, I think my first video is coming up on 3 years now.
Okay.
Which is interesting, man, because my channel is still super small time. I mean, I think I have just over 1,000 subscribers, which, thanks guys, I love you all. But it's super small time. And I've been working my ass off, bro. And it's still super small time. And it's just really weird. And scientifically it's because the content is not searchable. You're not going on there searching for, most people are not going on there searching for adaptive bike stuff or inspiration, motivation. Most people are not really searching that stuff.
Yeah.
So I've just kind of come to the realization that for the channel to grow, I have to have searchable content. I have to do more. I have to double down on the gear reviews and things like that. The van life stuff is actually really helping. Things are really starting to go with the van stuff. So people are searching for that, and I'm coming up in that stuff in those feeds now. I have to double down on that stuff, and on like the YouTube Shorts is big now. And then hopefully people are then exposed, like, oh, this guy has really cool videos that he must work really hard on, and then hopefully subscribe. Hopefully get people to invest in the channel that way.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your connection to Arkansas. What was the chicken and what was the egg? Did you go there for an event and then say, hey, look, I want to get involved with making these trails more adaptive? Or did they say, we know of this guy, why don't you come out and help us make more adaptive? And then you fell in love with it when you got there. I mean, who reached out to who first?
Man, it's so crazy how stuff happens. It's so crazy. Like, we're just riding this amoeba that's just being taken anywhere, And man, I was contacted by a gentleman from a PR agency in New York that I can't remember who contracted this guy. I can't remember if it was the town or if it was the Walton Foundation. I'm pretty sure it was the Visitors Bureau. I can't remember though, so don't quote me on that. Had contracted this PR agent to reach out to micro influencers on YouTube to come and possibly make videos. So we were working things out. I remember like being in, on the road and like trying to text and call this guy, and he was trying to work out a trip to Bentonville for me, but then COVID hit, and stuff just got just fell through the cracks and didn't happen. But I was thinking it got Bentonville on my radar, and I had been there once. In what year was it? It was for the IMBA World Summit, which I want to say was 5 years ago or so, maybe 6 now. I had been there, and it was my first exposure to Bentonville. I'm like, oh, whoa, this place is not what I expected. Right. This is mountain bike Disneyland. And so I wanted to go back. I really wanted to go back, and I had really been working on my Subaru and like my camping. So I was really craving being on the road, camping out of the Subaru, making videos. So I decided just to do it myself. So the executive director for San Diego Mountain Bike Association here, Susie Murphy, connected me with Amy Ross, who was then working for was it Bike Arkansas or
okay.
So there's Visit Bentonville, Bike Bentonville is who she's working for. She's now my manager, by the way. She's no longer with Bike Bentonville and is helping me keep my crazy life together and organized. So Susie connected me with Amy, and then Amy set it all up with everybody and organized a ride plan and got me a spot to park my Subaru at Kohler. And I came there and made a few videos. And the first video I did was on the Wonderland area, and I rode with Gary Vernon and Hogan Kosas. And so got connected with those guys. And then in just the course of the next year or so and communicating with those guys, they decided that they wanted to really work on the adaptive mountain bike infrastructure in the area, and invited me to come work as a consultant to perform trail audits for them. So that's where we're at. And that's what brought me to Bentonville.
So at what point did you decide that you wanted to be at least a part-time Arkansan?
Well, I had been. Well, let me start this answer with to buy a house in California, you have to have a minimum $1 million put down. I don't have that.
Right.
And so I wanted to buy a house, and I wanted to buy a house somewhere that's fun, where I can either you do something out of my door, and I was actually looking at Western Colorado. Fruita, Colorado was number one on the list in the beginning. Places like Boise and Bozeman, Whitefish. Was researching real estate and everything in places like that. And then I had this trip to Arkansas, and basically Kayleen Munson, who works for the town, and Amy talked me into making Arkansas where I was going to set up shop. Wow. I also am the U.S. dealer for the manufacturer that builds my bike.
Okay.
And I want to start a demo program. I want to be, I want to be in a destination mountain bike place for that. San Diego, there's good riding here, but people aren't coming here specifically to mountain bike. I want to be in a place where people are going there to mountain bike, and would want to come there to try the bikes that I sell. So that's how it happened, man. And I bought a house. I got super lucky because, as you know, the market's crazy. It's calmed down a little bit.
Right.
But man, I got my heart broken a few times, and I finally just got lucky on this house. And it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And Amy and my friends, told me about this house, and the owner decided to not even list it and just sell it to me without listing it. So I didn't have to fight anybody. It was super easy, and it's across the street from Kohler.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you split your time then? Are you full time in Arkansas yet with just occasions at California? Is it the other way around? I mean, how do you split your time?
Well, originally the plan was to be mostly Arkansas, and then and get rid of my place here in San Diego. But I'm San Diego soft, brother. And it is muggy as hell there in the summer. I couldn't take it. I'm so soft, man. I'm so soft. Just you know it. That's funny. Just working on my, bike in my garage, just drenched. And the one thing that has been difficult for me to get used to is having the house closed up. Here, you have all your windows and doors open. I don't have a heater. I don't have an air conditioner. It's mellow, man. You don't think about what you're going to wear. You just wear a t-shirt, maybe you throw on a hoodie. Well, I'm wearing a beanie and a hoodie because I actually live right on the water, and there's a storm last night. So the wind kind of just comes straight in. This is like a tunnel for the wind right here. And I wear a beanie almost year round anyways. That's just how I am. So I decided, and I got to be honest with you, I got really homesick. My first stint there, I was there into August, and I was really missing the ocean, and I got homesick. And so I decided to keep my place here for the time being, and be here to winter and summer here in San Diego, and then spring and fall, which are unbelievably beautiful there, man. Fall, absolutely. Riding with all the leaves. Oh my God. What, just every day out of my house. It's so beautiful. And I want that, every day in my life. So that's why I'm splitting time right now. I'm renting my place here in San Diego, and I have a really good deal. And I have a really good thing going here. So that was another thing that was pretty tough to leave, is I'm comfortable here. you know? And so I'm moving to Arkansas, and getting a house there because I've decided it's what's best for me and my career and what I'm working on. That's bigger than me.
Yeah.
So that's why. So right now, splitting time, and this is we're coming up to we're still in the first year of this, so I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. I'm still figuring it out. I do spend a lot of time on the road. I'm about to leave. God, in a week and a half, I'm spending a month on the road, man.
Wow.
So out of the van. So a month or two out of the year, I do spend on the road too, though.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your mission through the unpavement, and then speaking in general of areas that want to be more inclusive in terms of trails. When you're dealing with somebody, whether it's Bentonville, whether it's wherever, what are some of the same either hurdles? What are the same things that haven't been thought of because trails have only been thought of for one type of traffic, right?
Right.
And to make them, for instance, are they typically too narrow, or are there just some different design elements that have to be corrected? Is it a mindset? Let's talk a little bit about what you were trying to improve if you're not building something from the ground up. How do you make that more inclusive?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you asked this question. And this is a very loaded question. It's multi-tiered, multifaceted. So let's work on unpacking this a little bit. So let's just start with the basics. Yes, I have an awesome bike that allows me to get out on the trail and have a relationship with nature. It's awesome. But yes, it is wide. It is limited, So what I can ride, or what an adaptive rider can navigate, is limited in respect to a two-wheel bike. Of course, this is how it is, man. The equipment is improving quickly, and so there is that. The equipment is becoming more and more capable very quickly. So we do have that, which is awesome. And in my experiences out on the trail, I've gotten myself into some pretty precarious situations. I've even been helicoptered out before. When you don't have the luxury of being able to walk your bike out, if anything happens, if you don't have, if you're unable to fix the bike, or you're just stuck, which has happened to me before. I've, and a crash can happen at any moment, no matter what, even if I'm just on, novice terrain, it just happens. I make a mistake, or something, shit happens, and it's really, if I end up off the trail or not, that can really determine if I'm able to recover from that crash. For example, I had one crash where it was super minor. It was just dumb. And I ended up off the trail and down the hill a little bit. And I was able to get myself back up to the trail. But then imagine being a paraplegic and you don't really have a base, I can't, in trying to get I struggle for about 2 hours trying to get my bike up to the trail. Nobody came by, which was crazy. I'm like, I kept going because I'm like, eventually someone's going to come by. Nobody ever did. The sun ends up, getting close to setting. I'm like, crap, I've got to make a call. I've got to make the call. I'm out here after dark. I can't get my bike up. My bike's not broken. I'm not injured. I just need to get my bike like 7 feet up this embankment back to the trail. That's all I need. So I make the call. They send the helicopter. They want to pull me out. I'm like, no. Don't pull me out. Just get me my bike. That's all I need. So they end up dropping a guy off, and he ends up pulling my bike up for me. And, it was super minor, but it required this like major thing. I even told the dispatcher, I'm like, just send the truck, send a couple of the guys up the trail, I was only like 4 miles like up the trail. Like they can just hike the 4 miles, whatever. But like, no, they sent the freaking helicopter. So that's an extreme experience. But there's also been the other end where, I'm going down a new trail. I'm like, oh, this could go either way. It works out completely fine. That happens most of the time. Or something happens and I got to turn around. Now, I say that pretty frivolously, like I just turn around. That's not how it is. Imagine being a paraplegic, turning that big bike around on narrow single track with a drop off. It's that in itself is like an hour ordeal. And so just a regular any day ride can turn into something that's pretty unpleasurable, very quickly and easily. But it doesn't have to be that way if the information exists, which it's starting to exist. Trailforks has adopted my rating system, and we're able to input adaptive info into trail pages. And I'm working on formalizing the trail documentation protocol so that I can train other adaptive riders to do the same in their respective areas. So the information is growing. Now, when it comes to like consulting and doing actual work, and so that's one aspect of the trail project. And the other aspect is actually updating trails for adaptive friendliness. And you mentioned hurdles. And the reason why I'm so glad you asked this question is because of the climate in Bentonville currently is folks are concerned. They see the work we're doing, and the concern is, and I don't like these terms, but these are the terms that are used in the mountain bike world, that we're going to be sanitizing trails, and we're going to do it to all of them, which both are completely untrue. The biggest hurdle and the biggest misconception that I come across in trail work is that there's one type of adaptive trail. Couldn't be further from the truth. And I get contacted every day by trail management and project managers and trail builders wanting to build an adaptive trail. I'm like, no, do not build an adaptive trail, because what do you think I think when I hear that?
Yeah,
segregation. Like I got to ride this one trail, and then if I want to ride with anybody, they got to ride this one boring trail with me. Right. No, man, that's the misconception, that there is a one type of adaptive trail and there should be there's trail standards for that. That couldn't be further from the truth. It is multi-tiered and very, very complex because when you consider the gamut of adaptive riders, it is so huge. I base my trail documentation on the average rider, which is, for me, is based on a formula of rider capability, rider disability, and equipment capability. The gamut of each one of those things is huge. You have to consider all of them to consider what the mean is. And then I have to ride the trail both directions as kind of each one of those riders, with those riders in mind. So, and then it's all about what the goals for the trail are. What type of experience are we looking for? Are we looking for that hand cut single track or whatever, with tons of tree gates? That's probably not going to be adaptive friendly. Is this flow? Is this tech? Is this a jump line? What are we looking for the experience of this trail? And, what difficulty level are we looking for? And so these are the things to consider. So, for example, there was a tree gate right out of the parking lot of Blowing Springs on a short section of trail that linked to all the other trails. This one tree gate was stopping adaptive riders from accessing everything else, which is completely fine, and has no other tree gates. So the experience goal of this trail is not tree gates, you know? So, so we took out that tree gate because it opened up so much more. It was one change to open up so much more for an entire other user group. To me, no brainer, but caused a lot of concern in the community, rightfully so. No, I don't want to say rightfully so. I want to say understandably so. I get it. People are very protective of their trails, the environment, and everything. So am I. I understand. But it's all based on misconception that we want to do that everywhere. We want to take out all the tree gates everywhere. No, that is not the case. The other misconception is that we want to do this to all trail. Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to ride every trail, you know. I definitely would be lying, but I understand that that's just not feasible, just impact wise, and changing the desired experience of the trails and goals for the trails. It's just not in the cards. So usually my goal is to figure out because of all that, and I've unpacked this now. So usually my goal is to pinpoint the low hanging fruit, to pinpoint those small changes like that tree gate, to gain like minimum updates, maximum return. So I usually spend time with a trail area, ride every single trail, which gets gnarly sometimes, with a support rider, of course, and then get to know it and figure out what I feel is the best adaptive route and what, with the fewest amount of changes that we can do to the fewest amount of trails. That's usually my goal for an area, and that takes time to really get to know a trail area.
So help me understand, and this is going to sound like an obvious question, but I want to get it in your words. So if a community, a municipality, when I say community, I mean a municipality, it sounds like they are sensitive to wanting to make an amenity like a trail accessible to as many people as possible. It sounds like those attitudes are changing. The current users, again, a little more protective, and that's a hurdle to get over. But for those municipalities that this doesn't cross their mind, what are they missing out on? There's obviously a moral obligation to try and provide for all of the citizens, right, of a given municipality. So there's that moral thing. But I mean, in terms of the other benefit of doing this in the first place, going to the trouble in the first place to be inclusive, it's a little clumsy to say what's the payoff, but I'm going to ask you that. What do communities reap when they go to the effort to build these things to accommodate as many people as possible?
Oh, that's a really great question. You know, I could go the touchy-feely route with that, probably. Yeah. Man, well, there are both communities that I'm experiencing. There's the ones that are concerned about sanitization of trails, and then there's the other half, and it seems to be like split down the middle, that want to make everything adaptive friendly, you know, and so it's my work to talk to both, because both are unrealistic, you know. But you know, the first thing that comes to mind is man, what's really important? You know, is mountain biking the most important thing in the world? No, it's not. It's not even close. What's important is being a better person, right? and doing whatever we can for others. And if that's not someone's mindset, then I hope that changes. You know what I mean? So there's that part of it. But you know, let's make our lives not entirely about ourselves, you know. There's that. And then when we do that, our quality of life increases, regardless of what the trail is like, you know. So we receive that from doing this work. But also, man, and this is a blessing and a curse. When I'm out on the trail, people get stoked. Um, I always say that being paralyzed is a gift in that way. And that's a crazy thing to say because being paralyzed sucks. It's a gift in that I can go ride my bike and people are stoked. I can go surf. I can just go to the grocery store and people are stoked,
Yeah.
So you get more adaptive riders out on the trail. You're stoking out more people. It's a curse because a lot of times I want to be anonymous. I actually don't want the attention. I'm just out there just to try to stay sane. And I just barely got myself out of the house. I just want to listen to music and be alone and get some exercise outside. And people are like, yeah, man, I was stoked. They want to talk about my bike and whatever. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. But it's a good thing because it's stoking people out, man. Having adaptive riders out there. I have, a handful of quadriplegic friends. I have a couple blind. I know this blind kid that rides, man, and that inspires me. It's insane. The way he does it is he follows someone's line. He can see enough where he can follow their wheel, and they'll yell at him like, "What's coming?" And he goes big too. He crashes a lot, but he goes big. He's young. But so if these guys are inspiring me, like I know that me being on the trail and other riders on the trails is stoking people out. So you're getting that, and that's a good thing for a community. 100%.
I see. So last question, and then we'll wrap up with some other stuff. But you described your early life as being a pinball, just whatever kind of fell in your path. That's what you were going to do, and what have you. What do you dream about now that you're no longer that pinball, that you are more intentional? Obviously you're still accomplishing great things. I've looked at your bio and what have you, and either on the water or climbing or whatever, you've done amazing things. It has an air of intentionality about it. So what do you dream about now? What's the future?
Now, are you asking what do I like literally dream about in my dreams when I'm asleep? Or like, what are my, like, basically what's my vision for the future?
There you go. What's your vision is a better word. Vision.
Man, it's interesting. And I think, I'm a tactician with a lot of things. And a lot of it is subject to our biology and what our brain is delivering dopamine rewards for, after we cross that threshold in our mid-20s of what our brain is rewarding us for, my brain rewards me for stability, so for building stability. Whereas in our 20s, it's rewarding us for, experiences of novelty, pushing us out of the nest, man. I think of my perfect house, really. I'm looking at plots in Bella Vista, and I mean, my house that I have is cool. The location is rad, right at Kohler, but I'm not in love with the house. It needs a ton of work. And it's not the vision I had for the house I want to grow old in. I want to be peaceful, wooded area, lots of windows, deer coming through my yard, birds singing, sipping coffee in my boxers on the deck in the morning. That's what I want. That's what I want. And so that's definitely what I dream about. I'm looking at plots of land in Bella Vista and talking to builders about a container house. I think about that. The other thing, which is kind of new, it's not new. It's been a thing forever, but I've just defined it for the first time, is surfing is my number one sport, and being in the ocean is my first love. And so I've recognized this emotional reaction that I have when my friends just like run across the street at sunset and grab a couple waves. And I want that. Hasn't been in the cards for me to be able to surf easily. That's why mountain biking has become such a big part of my life, is because there's so fewer logistics. I can just go ride my bike by myself. No one has to touch me. But with surfing, it requires getting help from somebody. So I want to figure out a system where I can just surf more easily. And that's definitely on my docket for how I want my life and my future to look like. So house and surfing easily is kind of where I'm at.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So I always try to end my interviews the same way, and hopefully, in this career of mine, I never get so egotistical that I think that I've thought of every question that there is to ask, and I don't want to miss something great just because I didn't know about it. So, knowing we were going to talk today, is there anything I didn't specifically ask you that is a key part of your story or a key element of this whole concept of adaptability in the outdoors and inclusivity in the outdoors? Anything I didn't ask you specifically you want to get on the record before we say goodbye?
Oh man. No, we covered a lot, man. we covered some good ground. Nothing's coming to mind right now. I guess, my one thing right now is what we talked about in the beginning about the channel growing so slowly. I want to enlist the help, people's help with that in growing the channel. I work really hard. I've kind of taken a step back, focusing on taking care of myself. A little more, but I'm about to go on the road. I'm about to collect a ton of content, and I'm going to work really hard on making rad videos. So I just want to enlist the public's help with growing the channel and sharing it with people. Subscribing and share, and then sharing it with people. Like if there's someone that you guys out there, if there's someone that you think would benefit from watching my videos, just share it. If every single person shared it with someone and that person ended up subscribing, we could, double the subscriber count. And also advice. Man, I am on Lonely Island out here. It's a one-man show, everything. And if anybody has any advice on how to make things better, then I could really use that help for sure. That's kind of the only thing I can think of, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, let's stay in touch. And if I need things, I'm putting this together, I'll just reach out to you then. And, as things evolve here in Arkansas, please let me know. Keep me posted. I'd love to continue to tell your story and just, one Arkansan to another. I wasn't born here either, but I've been here long enough. They sent me my membership card. So, they get used to you after a while. And I think
they sent you your membership card.
Yeah. And I think
you're
going to find a really cool place, man.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Nebraska.
Oh, you're a Huskers fan, huh?
Yeah, well, a long-suffering Huskers fan, yes, sir.
I went to my first Huskers game this past season.
Did you really?
It's not what I expected. Okay, so my experience of college football games is San Diego State.
Okay.
and it's all these drunk kids. That's what San Diego State games are. Super fun. That's what I expected. And it is not that. It is mostly older, serious people that are serious about the game. I was totally blown away. I mean, we had a blast. It was cool to be at such a big, exciting game. It was definitely really interesting, though. I wore all my Huskers gear. And the reason why I'm a Huskers fan is I have a group of close friends here that are all from there. So, and they're all Huskers fan. Yeah. So I've grown to love the Huskers, watching games with them and stuff. So it's really fun.
Hopefully they'll give us a little more to cheer about here in the seasons to come, because it's been a long time since we've been where we should be. So,
and a lot of Huskers fans are Chiefs fans as well. Are you a Chiefs fan?
No, I'm not a Chiefs fan. No, I didn't. I don't have enough pain in my life, so I have been since high school a Bears fan.
Oh, awesome!
I was a Walter Payton dude, man. I mean, he was the man, and I just never let go of the Chicago Bears, and that's been another fairly long slog. But It's all right. They'll get back.
So
it's all good.
That Super Bowl was at 85 when they just destroyed the pay. Oh, that was all. I remember watching that. My dad is Bears fan, so I remember watching that.
Yep. There you go.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Did you try to pay attention to the commercials?
No, actually, we decided that we were going to have one night where we just watched the game, and then one night, because streaming, right? Nothing ever goes away. We're going to go back and watch all the commercials just back to back.
Well, speaking of Walter Payton, it was really weird. There's one commercial with all these football avatars. Football players, little avatars running around. They came out of the TV. I don't remember what the commercial was for, but the football players, as their animated avatars, came out of the TV and were running around. One of them was Walter Payton.
Okay.
Which was kind of weird for me because Walter Payton is no longer with us. And here is his avatar running around. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird. I mean, all the other players are all currently alive. So I don't know. It was just kind of weird. I don't know what
I got to a buddy of mine, I don't know why we're buddies, because he's a lifelong Vikings fan.
Oh,
that's just, I mean, my God, come on. But he had season tickets. And so for a spell there, we would go to one game a year. And it so happened that the game I got to go to with him was the first game in Soldier Field after Peyton had died.
Oh,
and
shit.
if you've ever been to Soldier Field for a football game against a conference rival, nobody ever shuts up and they don't stop fighting, right? But they did a moment of silence, and you could have heard a pin drop throughout that stadium. I was so impressed. It gives me chills just thinking about it. But that was a cool experience that I'll always have.
He is the best ever, man. That's for sure. No doubt about that.
I know you got a lot to do. I am so impressed, and I learned a lot with this interview, and thank you so much for being gracious with your time. If I need anything, I'll reach out. And when you get back to the state, let me know. I'll buy you a beer.
Yeah, I'll be back next month for the Professional Trail Builders Conference. I'm delivering the keynote and doing group rides. I can't wait. I'm really excited just to educate everybody about adaptive riding and the work we're doing. For my subscribers, where can they find you if you want to be found, or your magazine?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're online, and find us at arkansaswild.com. And then also our Facebook page. This is going to be out in March, right about the time that you're coming back to the state. And if you're in Arkansas, particularly Central Arkansas, you pick them up anywhere. I mean, it's a free magazine.
Awesome.
Pick it up anywhere on newsstands.
Dude, I know what I forgot to tell you. I'm going to start hunting.
Hunting, really?
Yeah.
What are you going to start hunting?
Well, I've got a friend who's going to be helping me. I got to start. I'm going to be starting small, of course.
Yeah.
But my moral compass alarms are just going off when I eat meat, because I don't believe I give it the proper reverence it deserves. Yeah. And I'm an animal lover. And so to go through the experience of taking an animal's life is going to be very major for me. And I think that experience is what's going to enable me to respect my food to the level that my moral compass tells me it deserves. So, and the logistics for me hunting are pretty major. If you think about it, I'm going to have to use my bike, to get out there, bushwhack, whatever we got to do. And, learning to shoot a gun. I don't know how to shoot a gun.
Let me email you a couple of resources in the state, because there are some groups here that that's their whole existence is adaptive hunting, right? I mean, it's still awesome. Hunting. No, it's still hunting, and I mean, you still got to do what you got to do, right? But I mean, in terms of things that are a little more accessible, instead of trying to roll through the woods where I mean, it may just be impassable, for
exactly
on hunting. Yeah, and I'll hook you up with them. I'll hook you up with them.
And please do. That's going to be great.
they can get you lined up. Either, I think they do both duck hunts and deer hunting.
Yeah, I think deer hunting is where it's going to be out for me.
Cool.
Yeah, factory farming is the biggest evil on this planet, and I think for those who are anti-hunting, that can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, this one died.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited and scared and nervous all at the same time about it. But
nah, you'll be just fine. We'll I don't do that myself. I mean, I don't have any problem with anybody doing it. And frankly, from a habitat perspective, it has to be done. I mean, that's what people don't understand about hunting, is that it's actually beneficial to the species to be harvested to some degree, right, responsibly.
Yeah.
And I think from the motivations you described, I think you're gonna really find that it's a very powerful experience. I really do.
It's going to be powerful in one way or the other. I know that. And for me, it's either become a vegetarian or start hunting. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm serious.
You are an all or nothing kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, we can support
buddy.
small farmers and stuff like that, but that's not sustainable across the globe. Those small farmers can't support everybody. So that's where it's at, man. I believe it's my responsibility.
All right. Well, I'm going to send you that stuff so that you can hook up at your at your leisure, okay, and at your convenience. And like I said, when you get back to the state, I hope to meet you.
All right, Dwain. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Adios.